but
he's definitely conscious though.
But his pen is different gravy though.
Oh yeah,
His pen is like
It's ridiculous.
it's ordained by the Most High, bruv. He's rapping from a different. He's tapping into something else.
Say that one more
when he
time.
raps. Huh?
What is it?
He's ordained. It's ordained by the Most High, bruv.
What's going on, world? This is the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast coming to you with your boys Peter,
Yo,
Mohammed,
Yo.
myself, Yemi. We're here today to review Lupe Fiasco's new album, Drill Music in Zion. But before we get to the review, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that bell so that you're notified whenever we drop new stuff. And while you're there, just listen to the podcast and watch the podcast and check it out. Give us some views, give us some likes, give us some comments, share, tell a friend, and spread the good news about the pod. Now, without any further ado, we're going to get to the album. It is Lupe Fiasco's Drill Music in Zion. His first album since, I want to say, 2018, which was Drogas Wave, I believe.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This is an album, Drill Music in Zion, that Lupe initially wanted to record in 24 hours. And it turned out it took him a little bit longer, but he still recorded the album in 3 days. It's 10 tracks. It features production by Lupe himself and longtime collaborator Soundtrakk. Features his sister Ayesha Jaco and a singer by the name of Nayirah as well. And I mean, Lupe, if you don't know who Lupe is a Chicago MC who came into a lot of people's attention in 2005 when he featured on Kanye West's Touch the Sky, as well as a lot of mixtapes in the lead up to his debut album Food and Liquor in 2006, which was then followed by The Call in 2007. He dropped bangers such as, Superstar, Kick Push, and a bag of others. He's probably one of the more interesting figures in hip-hop history, just as far as like his trajectory when he came out with the 2 albums, and then he had Lasers, which is a completely different sonic and creative direction. There was a lot of hoopla around that as far as his relationship with his label at the time, Atlantic. There were hackers trying to, hack the databases at Atlantic and basically leaking the album to the point where Leo Cohen, Mo's good friend Leo Cohen, had a boom box outside the Atlantic offices just playing the album and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, around them times. Yeah, man.
And what was the purpose of him doing that?
Just to be like, well, you guys want this, don't you? Here it is.
Leo Cohen.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Wow. So, he then left his label after a while. I think he did 2 more albums. And I think the last album with Atlantic was Text You On With Youth. And since then, he's been independent. He's dropped 2 albums, Drogas Light and Drogas Wave. And now we've got Drill Music in Zion. Now, before you start assuming, it isn't actually a drill album. It's very much like basically jazz rap, innit?
And that's what kind of surprised me about it, man. I thought, based on the title of the album, he was going to give us his version of what drill music would sound like in Zion. So the fact that it wasn't that kind of caught me off guard.
Same. But then you didn't listen to any of the singles before they dropped, did you? So he dropped Auto Botto, and from then, I didn't know that he was dropping an album. Yeah. So by then, I was thinking, okay, this is just a Lupe Lucy, very, very good, all that. And then he dropped the album. We announced the album, the name, Drill Music in Zion. I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is probably going to be his take on what it is. And I think I listened to an interview, it might have been Hot 97, where he was just like, yeah, it's not actually drill music, but the title can be whatever you interpret it to be. Drill music could be whatever you want it to be. Zion could be whatever you want it to be. It's kind of your construct sort of thing. So with that, it's a very loose concept, but also with Lupe albums, you've come to expect very high concepts, very lyrical matter, dense lyrical matter sometimes as well, especially with his last 2 albums, and even Tetsu and Youth as well. But generally, I feel like this is a statement from Lupe, just especially when it comes to him recording it in 3 days, him apparently buying $100 microphone, recording all of it through there, and kind of just letting it rock that way. But
did you enjoy it?
I did, very much so. I think I missed the last 2 albums because I felt like after Tetsu and Youth, and Lupe is one of my favorite rappers, but I just feel like after Tetsu and Youth, I kind of got Lupe fatigue in terms of it's so conceptual and it's so lyrical and it's so dense and it's so much. It's a lot to get through. It can be exhausting. So I kind of just took a break from Lupe and as far as new Lupe music came. And then I listened to Autobotto and listened to all the singles that he released before he dropped drill music, and I was like, okay, we're getting a Lupe that's a little bit, not diluted, but it's a little bit more distilled. I feel like he's got more, there's more focus.
But this is still conceptual to me.
It is, but nowhere near as
dense.
Yeah, and somewhat, I don't want to call him arrogant, even though he kind of is.
He is.
He kind of is. But I feel like...
Is he?
Yeah.
Kind of. I feel like, I mean, maybe not arrogant, confident. He knows how good he is.
If you see him
but
on
at the
social
same
media,
time,
you get arrogance as well.
Say what?
If you see, I don't mean to cut you, but if you see social media presence as well, you get a sense of he's a bit arrogant. Like the way he talks.
Nah, I just think he knows he's ill.
So it's confidence.
Yeah.
But there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. A very thin line.
But that's all based on perception as well.
Exactly.
And based on how you perceive confidence and arrogance
but
as well.
I agree with his arrogance. Like, you have every right to be.
But I think his general perception could be that of arrogance versus confidence. Because just the way he conducts himself and just what he raps about as well, like a lot of people aren't rapping about what he raps about more often than not, especially when it comes to like his previous work post like Lasers.
Yeah.
Like very high conceptual. But overall, I enjoyed it, man. I think he very much, it's a concise one. It's like 40 minutes long. So there was no room for maneuver when it came to like the bars and when it came to what he was talking about. It felt like he took an approach of less was more on this approach, on this album. And I feel like that worked to a T, man. I think when you start off an album with the lines Dean with his sister Ayesha, just like doing that spoken word and just spitting,
drill music,
basically.
pop that pill music.
Yeah, exactly. She was spitting, man. And it felt like a return to form because I feel like she did a couple of those on like The Cool and maybe Food and Liquor as well. Yeah. So from then, he's already kind of harkening back to what kind of made him the guy sort of thing. So that was a great start. It then goes to Goatee, which, fun fact about Goatee, and I was watching Dead End Hip Hop, shout out to Dead End Hip Hop. Apparently, Goatee, you pronounce it as fish. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. It's like basically like a different spelling for fish, but you actually pronounce it as fish and not Goatee. But I love that song. I think like his flow patterns, just what he was talking about, like fantastic stuff. Generally, I just feel like, yeah, man, he was really spitting. And the fact that you wouldn't even be able to tell that he recorded it in 3 days. It's that good sort of thing. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel in any way like lacking in certain areas.
When you say he recorded it in 3 days, do you mean, did that include the writing as well? Or was it just recording?
He heard the beat and he was writing to the beat.
It makes more sense to me now.
So he would have a line and then he would hear the beat and he would basically just flesh out the whole song based off the beat. Yeah. So he was doing both and then getting guest features and all that stuff as well, which probably explains why Nayirah features so much. I think she features on like 3 songs.
Yeah. I really liked her voice. I never heard of her before. Didn't know where she came from. So seeing her name was new to me. But I really enjoyed her voice, man.
Yeah, you can file her under like Sarah Green and like Nicki Jean as far as like the people that Lupe just kind of pulls from Purity and like features heavy. So I very much appreciated it. Yeah. I think these are some of the best beats Lupe has rapped on in years.
Big up Soundtrakk.
Big up Soundtrakk. Yeah. Like the title track.
And I don't know if they had worked together since like Food and Liquor or The Cool. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure. I need to fact check that, but I don't. Based on like the production that I heard on this versus the ones I heard earlier on in his catalog, I don't think so.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he would have worked with him on Lasers.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might be right, but listen, Soundtrakk was cooking, and whatever involvement Lupe had in the beat making as well, like very, very good. I think the social commentary is on point. I think he glides lyrically, and I think with Lupe as well, he can come across kind of preachy sometimes.
Nah.
Sometimes.
Lupe.
I disagree.
Sometimes.
There. I don't think he. I love it though when he's preaching, but I
actually think it's quite the opposite. You know, I feel
rock.
like in his interviews, he, based on because he's from Chicago, innit?
Yeah.
And what I get from him is that like he is always speaking from the perspective of understanding because he knows how real it is. He understands how real the drill music is, especially being from Chicago as well.
I agree with Pete. I think he's always talking about this could have been me aspect rather than
preachy.
Think like correct what you guys are doing. I think it's always I think the way he raps is.
But I think this album is that though. I think this album is him in his own way saying.
It's very easy to get
it could have been
trapped.
me, but correct what you're doing as well. That's what I got from this conceptually.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one doesn't come across, and the reason why I say he might come across preachy sometimes, I'm basing it off stuff like, you know, the Food and Liquor 2 album, which kind of came across sometimes as if like yeah, you're kind of, I get what you're doing, but it kind of just feels like you're talking down to me sometimes. But this one, I feel like he was very much like someone who's been around the way, an older who's kind of been around the way and is kind of telling you about what he's seen, sort of thing. So I don't think he's necessarily preachy on this one. I think he was coming across a lot more respectable and a lot more like, this happened to me, so this shouldn't happen to you, sort of thing. So I appreciate that a lot more. But, you know, I think some of the lines on here were dope. Like he says on Autobotto, was an infrared doctor, whole.gov. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's like that's a great line. I liked what he did on Kiosk as well, even though I didn't necessarily like the singing. I like the concept and, you know, basically saying that, you know, we're victims to, you know, the kind of materialism that kind of can affect our community, but in his own way. So I appreciated that as well. I feel like he floated all over Naomi. And I feel like, yeah, man, he's very much following what he wants to do now. I feel like, obviously, the kind of wilderness years of like Lasers and Food and Liquor 2 and all that stuff, where he kind of, you could kind of hear that he was kind of struggling. There was an internal struggle there. I feel like he's right at home now.
I think the only internal struggle was the label shit. I think they were essentially trying to dictate what he should do.
They were trying to direct him
and I think
somewhere he
that
don't want
was
to go.
affecting the art that he was allowed to put out, or what he was trying to put out. That's what I think.
And it showed.
Yeah.
It showed on Lasers. It showed on Food and Liquor 2. It didn't show as much on Tetsuo and You.
You think it showed on Food and Liquor too?
100%. The beats. He didn't sound enthused. He didn't sound excited, from what I remember. Especially on those two albums. But here, I just feel like he got a new lease of life.
When you say he didn't sound infused, is that because he wasn't rhyming on the typical production that you would expect him to?
That and
He was just over it.
I just got a general vibe that he just was kind of over the
He was
label
just over it at
situation
that
because at that point, Lasers was a label obligation, Food and Liquor 2 was a label obligation, Tetsuo and Youth was a label obligation. But at least with Tetsuo and Youth, maybe
Was that a label obligation?
that was his last album on Atlantic.
Did you not like Lasers as well? You thought it was trash? Or you enjoyed it?
I didn't like Lasers.
I didn't mind Lasers.
No, I didn't like Lasers.
I didn't
I
mind
didn't like Lasers. I thought Food and Liquor 2 was cool,
Yeah.
I liked Food and Liquor too.
but not his best,
Yeah.
sort of thing. But it goes back to the whole idea of like, if you don't sound that enthused, I'm not going to sound that. I'm not going to be that enthused
Yeah,
for
of
you,
course.
sort of thing. So, I think that was that. But generally, I feel like it was a great album, man. It does what it says on the tin when it comes to Lupe albums. You know, it gives you a lot of lyrical nourishment. It gives you a lot of conceptual nourishment. I think on Phonum, like the first verse, like it kind of stops you in your tracks, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's like, oh shit, he's actually just gonna let this run. That's it. And then he kind of just switches the subject, and I like the kind of progression of the track as well. But yeah, man, I just all in all very, very happy with this album.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. I would recommend it to a friend, and yeah, man, salute to Lupe for it as well, man.
Yeah, no, I too enjoyed this, man. Unfortunately, I ain't been able to sit with it for as long as I wanted to. But based on the once over, I really enjoyed it, man. I wasn't able to take in everything conceptually, but I think I got the gist of what he was trying to do. And even if I didn't, even if it was just him rhyming over some dope beats, that would have been enough for me, man, as a purist as well, do you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed this album as well. I think I'm very happy with the fact there was only 10 tracks, because like Drogas Waves was like, I think it was double disc. Do you know what I mean? And I think Drogas Light might have been quite a long one as well. So it's nice to see that he kind of like forgone that format and was just going to go back to short form and that. And I think he had described this as he's Illmatic, which I don't agree with, but he's entitled to feel how he feels, as he's the artist that made the art. That's fine.
Yeah, that's a hard disagree. Sorry,
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, overall, man, I really enjoyed it, man. Lupe's still just showing why he's just like one of the best to ever do it, man. Do you know what I mean? And it seems as though he's just getting better with age, man. Do you know what I mean? So I really appreciate this art, man. Again, I want to sit with it for a bit more longer, but I enjoyed it, man. And like, favorite tracks were like probably On Phone Them. Love that track. Drill Music in Zion, Naomi, Miss Mural, Goatee. Yeah, those are probably like my ones. Lupe just sounded as though, even though he was sticking quite close to the concept, he was still showing that, yo, I rap better than all you, man. And that's just not going to change.
It is what it is.
And I think that's why you, man, might say he comes across like he's a bit arrogant.
I don't think
I think because he knows he raps better than a lot of man. But I think that's all right, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's good arrogance. I think you can have like CR7.
But I wouldn't even call him arrogant. I wouldn't even put that on him.
Which is, when I say arrogance, what I mean is, you know the way CR7 Cristiano Ronaldo's arrogant, but it's
No, it's not on that level.
Not on that level, but he's got every. If CR7 is arrogant, he's got every right to be.
Yeah.
That's how I view Lupe. If he's arrogant, until you lot can out-rap him,
Yeah.
let him be arrogant. Like, until you lot can outspit him, he's got every right to walk a certain way and be like,
100%.
yo, when I want to come outside, 90% of you lot can't fuck with me, and it is what it is.
That's it. You're right.
Hey, man, salute it.
And I think the timing of this album was perfect, man. I feel like when you just look at the introduction of drill in like the last few years as well, even though it feels like he could have made this years ago just because of everything that's been happening in Chicago, I think the fact that he made this now and released it now was perfect. I think because of how popular drill is internationally as well, it's just very fitting in it because it doesn't just apply to Chicago, it applies to all the different places in which drill is being made because those places are being affected as well. But yeah, man, I loved it, man. I love the album overall. And yeah, nothing but praise for Lupe from me.
I hear it.
Salute to Lupe.
Mohammed.
I just want to start this by saying this. Lupe is one of the nicest ever. Lupe's got one of my favorite albums.
Starting with some love.
I think The Call's one of the
Caveat,
nicest albums ever. Like, I used to rinse that. Had it saved on my PlayStation and everything. Lupe's one of my guys. Now, how can I put it? I need to sit on this album more times before I really... No, because do you know what it is? If I think an album shit, I'll say an album shit. I sincerely think I just need to sit on it a few more times before... So I don't want to write it out.
That's not what you were saying in pre-pod.
Pre-pod, I said it was shit. But... I don't know if I'm doing it this time.
How many listens?
Lupe,
How many listens?
One listen. That's what I'm saying. Lupe is nice with it. He's always going to be nice. When I just first listened to the album, I don't know what I was looking for, but there was a few times I was like, I'm going to come back to this later. Like, I just didn't want to see. That one run was effort for me.
Why?
I don't know. I was just like, yo, there was a lot going on. There was just the first song, there was a lot going on in the production-wise. I was just like, yo, I'm going to come back to this later. Like, I just wasn't... Like, Naomi, I love.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think I know what you mean. Because when I knew I had to listen to this, I had to get myself in a certain
Do you know what I mean?
frame of mind.
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah,
know-
yeah.
You do with Lupe.
Yeah, because lyrically he's very
That's the
dense,
thing
innit?
though,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there was so it's like when I sat down I was like, there's a lot going on here. It genuinely was like, yo, the topics, the production, the vocals, there's just I need to sit on this.
Yeah.
And it maybe it's unfair to him because you can't be at a level where Lupe is and consistently make shit albums, which he's done in the last two. So I think this one, he doesn't have a choice. It has
That's
to be.
harsh.
I think the last two albums were whack, bro. I didn't even mind Lasers because it had words I never said.
That wasn't in the last two though. Drogas Wave
No.
and Drogas Light. You might have missed those.
Yeah. I missed Drogos Light too.
So your
definitely.
last-
Yeah, it was Drogos Light 1 and then it was Tetsu.
Offering from Lupe was
Yeah.
Lasers for you.
Nah, the last good album for me.
Yeah.
The last decent album for me from Lupe was Lasers.
So what was the last? So that was that last time you heard from him.
No. I've listened to Tetsu and Youth and I listened
Okay.
to...
But
Yeah,
you
I've
didn't
listened
like
to
Food and Liquor too.
I thought it was cool. I'm talking about good though. Like, the last amazing album he's ever had to me was The Cool. If we're talking amazing album. Since then, it's been cool, good, cool. Do you know what I mean? So, to me, someone of his talent, I've just been looking for something. But yeah, off first listen, it's very mid to me. Just
Mid?
Just off first listen, it's just very, very like, there's a lot going on here. I need to
Really?
dissect. He's someone I need to dissect. I think it's unfair to him to listen to on first album. Like, I know so many stuff went over my head. Like, I know he was talking about Chicago. I know everything he was talking about. Even the Dean stuff he talks. Like, he brings up Dean Bear in his album. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's unfair to him, but I need to sit on it a few more times. But off first listen, it didn't catch me there when I wanted it to. Like, I love Lupe, so I wanted it to put me in a stranglehold as soon as I listened to it. But off the first song alone, the production, the bars, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a heavy album. I need to sit on this.
Do you think sometimes the fact that you have to get in that mindset to listen to Lupe albums works to his detriment? Because you're saying that, you know, on first listen it's mid. I need to sit with it a little bit more. That might turn off other fans. If you can't get it within the first listen, you're done.
But should you get an album on first listen?
I typically don't.
I don't like that though. I want my artist to make me go back 2-3 times before I fully understand what they're talking about. I just like, I
Depends on
like
the
my
fan.
art.
But that's why for me, sorry to cut you off, that's why for me, if I've only got time to give something the once over, I'm gonna make sure I give myself time for that once over. So I needed to like make time, give
That's the
myself
problem,
a couple hours to really think about what I've heard as well.
I was going in between work and from work and to work, so it's like I didn't have a chance.
Yeah,
No, I sat down.
But like
That is not the right
No, do you know what it is?
setting.
It's just because of shifts in it, like the way I've been working. Like I've had to slot times here, times. Do you know what I mean? Like just to sit on the album, it's been tough. But like, it's not fair because as soon as you're sitting this way, and you're like, yeah, this ain't gonna resonate with me the way my mindset is right now, where I'm located and the way I'm listening, the way I'm tuning it in. But I personally, I like my rappers. I like what you said. I prefer having to go back and dissect what they're saying. I don't like if I can listen to your album once and I can explain everything that's going on and I can tell you everything I like. It's an easy listen. Sometimes I prefer. Oh shit, I missed this. Oh shit, I missed that. Oh shit. Do you know what I mean?
It depends on the artist ultimately, and it depends on the fan.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying.
yeah.
So is it fair to call an album mid on the first listen then? If you know yourself as a consumer that you need that.
But that's
time.
why I think I
on
say
the album.
that's why it's like I don't want to call it like Future. As soon as I've heard Future once, we called Future shit. As soon as we heard it once, you heard it once, right?
Yeah,
Was it shit?
it wasn't shit to me, but it just wasn't amazing.
How many times did you listen to Future?
Twice?
Was it good?
No.
That's my point. There's some artists you don't need more than once. Future, I didn't need more than once. Once, okay. Drake, I didn't need more than once. You gave me that. What's his last album called? Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I listened to that once. I'm never going back. Lupe, I need to. Like it's not even fair. It's just the way he raps, the caliber he's at. I need to sit on it more than once. But on first listen, it didn't catch me. Like it didn't catch me.
Yeah.
It didn't catch me. That's the only way I could put it. It just didn't. Like there was a lot going on. But Lupe's always gonna be one of the nicest. So I need to go back. It's just out of respect.
Was it the production or was it
The production of the first song was heavy. The first it was just when I put it on, it was just there was a lot going on.
It was very strong.
What do you mean the production?
Yeah, man.
It was heavy to me, bro. Like there was a lot going on, but like, yeah, it was just too much. It was just too much. It's like you said, he was
really
just
interesting to me, man.
What,
Because
you-
I feel like production-wise, it's probably his most simplistic in the couple of projects.
In the last
so
couple
for,
or
so for
just
you
in
to
general?
feel as though a lot was going on,
in
it's
the
really
last
interesting.
in the last couple or just in general.
Last couple for me.
last couple?
If you listen to Droga's Waves
I did.
and the one before that,
This is probably his best produced album.
in a while, right?
Okay, I
Tetsuo
can't,
and Youth was really good.
I can't speak on the Drogas albums. Tetsuo was cool.
Tetsuo's the last one I had.
Production wise, this is better than
Tetsuo's the last one I listened to, and I didn't like it.
Wow.
I went to Drogas one, but
You like Tetsuo and Youth?
I thought it was cool. Sorry, I thought it was cool. It wasn't the cool, and it's unfortunate because I'm gonna always go refer back. Do you know what I
Can't
mean?
do that though, man.
That's the problem though with what we do with our rappers. I'm always gonna go back to
We
the cool
don't,
when
you do.
I do. I'm always gonna go back to the cool. I'm like, yeah, it was nice. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how highly you lot rank the cool, but cool to me is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's a phenomenal piece of work. So I'm always gonna go, yo, like, but how much can you criticize someone that made an album in 3 days? Realistically,
Of course you can. The same way you would criticize a painter that created a painting in 3 days. Same
Yeah,
shit.
you definitely can.
fair
Especially for someone of Lupe's caliber. Because it's not as if he's put
is it a cop out?
10 tracks together.
Is it a cop out?
No,
So if it's whack and he goes, I made it. It's not a cop out. Say I've done this shit in 3 days.
not at all. Because if you're giving us content like Lupe's giving us content and it doesn't hit, you can't blame anybody.
That's a fact.
You can't give excuses. It just didn't hit. It didn't work out this time.
Yeah.
You're the one who decided you wanted to make it in a day. Couldn't even do that.
That's on you.
Make it in 3 days.
That's on you.
So,
Which is very impressive, by the way, man.
of course.
No. That's why I was like, I said it earlier when he said 3 days because I didn't know that. So when he said that, I said something, but I was just like, yes, it's very impressive to make an album in 3 days. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way you
Production.
when you
the
listen
bars,
to it,
it's
when you
crazy.
listen to it, you wouldn't think that. It doesn't feel rushed. Doesn't feel in any way half baked.
Yeah, 3 days
Except for
is
the singing.
ridiculous though, man.
I really enjoyed Lupe singing. I didn't know he had that voice like that. I enjoyed it, man, for what it was.
I like him singing.
I appreciated it. I didn't like it.
You don't like your rapper singing though, period.
That's not true. I like when Fonte sings. That's because he can
What
actually
about
sing.
Most Def?
There
I
we
like
go.
when Mos Def sings.
All right, fair enough. I just
It
thought you
depends
had
on the
a-
rapper.
I just thought you had a thing against rappers.
What did you think of Miss Mural?
Wasn't my favorite.
No?
Wasn't my favorite.
In comparison to the rest of the murals.
Yeah, definitely wasn't my
Yeah,
favorite
definitely.
at all. I mean, you can't beat the first one.
Yeah.
At all. But
I enjoyed the concept, though.
concept was cool.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the thing. I can't knock Lupe on the concepts on this. The singing wasn't great to me, and some of the songs might not have hit as much as or as hard as they probably could have. But you can appreciate the effort. And
I wonder why he called it Miss Mural, though. I don't really understand that.
I mean, he likes to be different.
But you sound it once. Listen to it again, it might
Yeah,
make sense to you.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
But
It's
I'm
the-
quite
like-
curious for that, though.
But like, I genuinely think if you sit on it again, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think the concept was him rapping from the perspective of an artist and a record label, but in this form it was painter and patron.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's into painting now. Like, he's
Yeah,
like a
he
painter.
paints too. Yeah, he paints too.
he's
Yeah.
a painter now, so he'll have first-hand experience of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. I think on Phonum was like the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like the first verse and
Yeah.
what it then became. And yeah, it spoke a lot to like our times, and it spoke a lot to like the current situation within hip hop as well. So I don't want to say he's conscious,
He is, though.
He is.
but he is.
He may not like you saying that, but he is.
He is.
I mean, most conscious rappers probably wouldn't like the term anymore, but
He's definitely conscious though.
But his pen is different gravy though.
oh yeah,
His pen is like
It's ridiculous.
it's ordained by the Most High, bruv. He's rapping from a different. He's tapping into something else.
Say that one more
when he
time.
raps. Huh?
What is it?
He's ordained. It's ordained by the Most High, bruv.
but this is what I mean when I say like lyricism isn't always what you say; it's how you say it, sort of thing. Because he takes some of the most simplest stuff and he just really stretches it out in a way that no one else would.
No, he's nice. He's nice with it. Like he's one of them ones. Yeah. Like he's one of them ones. Lupe's always gonna be one of them ones.
100%. Where does he rank as far as like lyricists?
In terms of what? This generation or
time.
just period?
Lyricists.
For me, he's top 20.
I was gonna
Lyricists,
say,
top
I was gonna
20
say
for
top 30. Top 30, top 30, top 40. Top 30, top 40. 20?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, he's
Lupe,
No, he's up there, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying
You could argue top 15.
fam. Lupe Fiasco.
yeah. We might need to do this one day. You
be
might
able
be able to
to-
argue. Yeah,
Fam.
You might be able to argue top 10.
Lupe Fiasco.
I've got top 20 I won't argue. Top 10.
You might.
For Dumb It Down alone, bruv.
yeah, you might. Yeah.
Didn't we do this recently?
Lyricists.
Yeah.
Nah, we ain't done that.
We might need to. For a fun
I'm
topic.
down.
Top 10 favourite lyricists for a fun topic.
In fact, no, I'm not doing lists. I'm not involved.
Just for a fun topic. Just your top 10 favourite
Not on the pod.
Lyralist.
One time I
Ooh.
done a list, him and he shot on me so badly.
What
I've
list did
still
you do?
got like
What list did you
PTSD.
do?
I'm not,
He did the 100 MCs of all
I
time.
tried to.
Can you send it to us?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
I don't have access to it. No
Not for our group. Yeah, can you find it?
Probably.
I thought it was good.
Yems, rhymes like dimes. Yems, rhymes like dimes, that shit.
We'll run it.
Rhymes like dimes, that shit.
I don't even remember what the criteria was, but yeah, man.
I can only do it based on skill. I tried to do overall, but it clearly didn't work. I can do skill though.
And this guy's still trying to do a family tree.
I really want to.
Can't do
I
this.
know.
Can't
that's-
do this.
Yo,
Next year. I'm
no,
gonna
honestly,
do
for the
that.
sake of the
next
pod, the day he does that, it's going to be big. Like, I genuinely think if you hit that at the park, it'll look wavy.
I will do it. Don't worry.
Was
your
there anything you guys didn't like about this album? Good talk.
No, not really. I think I wouldn't have minded him rapping with some other elite MCs. But then again, I don't know what they would have added to it. I think he said everything that needed to be said on this. So I don't have any, based on my first listen, I don't have any criticism just yet.
Plus, I think it's probably going to be hard to get like a verse from an elite MC in 3 days at the same time. as well.
Right, verse.
You feel me? So that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, other than the singing and some songs not necessarily hitting as hard as others, I ain't got many complaints about this album either.
But I think that's interesting, man. I think sometimes a mid song can make an album even greater. I really do, man. Not too many, but I
Just
think
one.
Depending on where you put it in the track list, it will accentuate the greatness of other songs as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, do you know
I
what I
get
mean?
that. But that's like
On
a mind.
Illmatic, no one listens to One Time for Your Mind. I don't care what anyone says, man.
But I listen. But
Of course
no,
you
I
do.
hear you.
Of course
I
you
hear
do.
you.
Of course you do.
But that's like mind control, isn't it? That's like mind tricks.
Yeah.
It's like your mind playing tricks.
Yeah,
on you.
yeah.
Like you hate your song so much that the next one is gonna sound great.
Yeah.
It's smart when you get. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like most of the life of
They
Pablo.
do it on
For me.
purpose. What'd you say?
That's like most of the life of Pablo for me.
What, just mid,
Mid, and then the
Just
song
one
that's
famous.
alright is like,
Just
oh
one
my
famous.
God.
He drops you one famous. Yeah. It makes sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely. I hear that though. Cool.
Salute to
Mo,
one of
have
the
you got any-
nicest ever.
Have you got any favorite tracks?
Naomi I loved. Now and on phone them.
Is it Phonem or Phonem?
I thought it was on phone them.
Phonem.
Yeah, phone.
Yeah, Phonem.
Phone them.
No, not phone.
Phone and them.
Phonem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
On phone them.
Yeah.
You're saying Phonem.
I thought it was on
think that's how you
phone them.
pronounce
yeah,
it.
That's how you meant to say it. On phone them.
Okay.
Shout out to Derek
I don't
Rose.
actually know.
Shout out to Derek Rose.
Okay.
From what I've read, it's like
That's how they do it.
Chicago slang.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But I didn't get how you pronounce it. I don't know if it was Phonem or Phonem.
I think it's phone
Phone
them.
them.
Yeah, phone them.
Phonem. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, Chicagoans. I just butchered your thing. But cool. I mean, any final thoughts on this album, boys?
Nah, man, just big up Lupe, man. I
always,
think he's aging
always.
like fine wine.
Honestly.
And yeah, man, I'm just happy that he's just feeling like he's got the creative freedom to just do what he wants to do. So big up, man. Look forward to the next one.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like he's now not compromising in a way that he kind of had to towards the end of the label deal. And we're seeing that and we're hearing that, and he's on another plane right now. So,
Does he? Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Does he get his respect from his peers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From his peers.
I bet probably quite scared people are like scared to rhyme with him.
That's why I'm asking it though, because I just always wondered. I wonder if he gets because
I mean, the people that he respect him.
and it's enough for him, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He's had praise from like Nas and Jay.
And it's
really
enough
need
for
it from
him.
anyone
No,
else.
it's enough for
Do
you.
you know what I mean?
Because he was going on Twitter recently and was going back and forth with someone, and he was pulling out receipts where Jay was like, Lupe is one of us.
Yeah, 100%.
I hear that. Cool. Well, salute to Lupe. Dope album. And we're going to wrap this one up here. So thank you very much for watching. Till next time, we are the Rams Like Dimes podcast. Peace.
Peace.
Lord, please.